The holiday season for me this year felt very different than before. My name is Josh, and I have been divorced for 2 years. We were married for 12 years until she found someone. I guess I was stupid to give up any search after I found her and married her. Maybe I should have studied the rules more carefully before this important step. Anyway, I volunteered to work the shitty shifts, so my coworkers could have more time with their families. I don't need it because there's no one in my life again, no significant. It's too early, but my time will come. I will see my 10-year-old daughter this weekend after Christmas. As I drove through the snowy countryside on my way to our factory, dirty splashes of slush flew from under the tires of my car. Another day or two, and the snow should melt. When I feel down and think this world is not made for me, I always take the slower route. There were few cars on the road. At this late time, they are almost never there. As I rounded a corner with a blind spot, my headlights momentarily illuminated the flashing reflectors on my bike. I managed to notice that next to him, someone was lying in the snow. Slowing down and stopping not far from the downed bicycle, I saw in the headlights that it was a woman, probably only a few years younger than me. I quickly jumped out of the car. "Are you okay? Maybe call for help?" "I'll be fine," she replied. I was driving home from the train station when a car hit my bicycle. My leg hurts a lot. "I can take you to the hospital." "Thanks, but could you just take me home? It's only a mile from here." "Of course." Glad that I could be useful, I began to act. "I'll put your bike in the trunk, and then I'll help you climb into the back seat." "Oh, sorry. I'm Josh. Thank you for doing this for me. My name is Carrie." "Nice to meet you, Josh." Carrie moaned and grimaced as I picked her up. I'm not a macho man, but it wasn't difficult for me to carefully place her in the back seat. When I slammed the door, she slid onto the leather sofa, sitting in the middle. After making sure the road was clear, I made a U-turn and asked for directions. "Where are we going, Carrie?" "South Creekside Lane. I usually get home a few minutes before my husband. On his way home from work, he stops and picks up my 4-year-old daughter, Genevieve, from kindergarten." "Do you have children, Josh?" "Yes. Janie is my daughter. She is 10 years old. I can't see her as often as I'd like because I'm divorced now." "It's so sad," Carrie sighed. "Marriage is a hard thing. I know Jack and I have had our ups and downs, but my little angel gives me the strength to make compromises. So, over there, at the next turn, left. Will you be able to see Janie tomorrow?" "No. Her mother strictly adheres to the visitation schedule, as if it were carved in stone. I'll see her next year and also this weekend, and that's when we'll celebrate." I slowed down to turn left and looked around. Here, at a deserted intersection, there was absolutely no traffic. About a quarter of a mile later, driving along a dirt road, we pulled into a driveway. The voice of the 11-year-old girl sounded alarmed. "What do you think, Dad? Will she come this year?" "You see, I have my fingers crossed," her father responded. "She told you that she would come every year until you turned 18. She must, Daddy. I just have to. I'm so looking forward to meeting her." "Like a spell," the little girl repeated, peering into the darkness outside the window. "I know, honey," her father said softly, coming up to her and stroking his daughter's head. "Have you finished the Christmas card for her?" "Yes, I put a gift certificate in there, just like you said," she responded, nodding. An older lady joined the young girl, hugging her from behind and pulling her towards her. From 5 o'clock in the evening, they alternated standing in silence, almost constantly looking out the front window, occasionally glancing at the clock. At 18:52, moving headlights appeared on the road, cutting through the gathering dusk. "Car! Dad, there's a car!" Turning around, the girl screamed, jumping in place with her fists pressed to her chest. "She is here!" They pull into the driveway. I parked the car in front of the house but left the engine running. I jumped out and hurried to the front door. As I approached, a dim lamplight came on the porch. The front door swung open and a blonde girl jumped off the porch and ran towards my car. Running past me, a young lady with long, flowing hair shouted, "Thank you, mister." A man and a woman stood next to each other at the door of the house. "Hello. Are you Jack?" Carrie was hit by a car. "She needs help. I turned to him. "Yes, I'm Jack," the man confirmed, stepping forward and extending his hand, which I shook. Jack, without letting go of my hand, continued. "We waited and hoped that you would appear. What is your name?" he asked, but immediately caught himself. "Here, this is for you," Jack said, handing over the Christmas card. I put the card in my inside coat pocket and introduced myself. "I'm Josh." "You don't understand. Carrie needs help," I blurted out excitedly, turning my anxious gaze to the woman standing behind Jack and marveling at the strange calm of both of them. "Josh, this is my sister Mary." He still almost calmly introduced me to the pretty lady, stepping back a little. When I suddenly heard the sounds of giggling and laughter behind me and turned around to see what was the matter, Mary stepped forward and took my other hand. From here on the front porch of the house, we could all clearly see that the young lady who had climbed into the back seat of my car and Carrie were getting along very well. The girl leaned half out of the car and, waving her hand, shouted, "Mom says she loves you, Dad." Without moving from his spot, Jack also raised his voice in response. "Tell Carrie that I love her too." Without understanding anything, with a hint of panic in my voice, I asked Jack, aren't you going to help her?" Jack continued to squeeze my hand tightly. Without looking at me, fixing his gaze only on his chirping and laughing daughter, he spoke, "Thank you for your concern and for the kindness you showed, Josh. You see, 7 years ago, on the exact same night, Carrie was hit by a drunk driver, in the same place where you found her tonight. One good person, just like you, took her to the hospital. The doctors fought for her, but she died. Carrie left us too quickly and too soon. I can't see or hear her, but Genevieve, she can. You're the 7th person to bring Carrie home." Jack's voice trembled, and with his free hand he furtively brushed away a few tears. A mixed wave of joy, sadness, and confusion washed over my heart. Carrie is a ghost? But our acquaintance, our conversation, even her body, when I carried Carrie into the car, it all seemed so real. So this is Genevieve, her 4-year-old daughter? Confused, I couldn't find anything better than to ask such a stupid question. "Yes, that's her. Only she's already 11 now, and every Christmas she looks forward to this meeting." Tears were now continuously streaming down Jack's face, and he didn't try to hide it. My throat suddenly tingled, and I also felt something warm on my cheeks. After watching the mother and daughter for a few more minutes, I asked, "How long does Carrie stay?" "Until 7/16, that is, until the moment when she lost her fight in the hospital. She had serious internal injuries that the doctors could not cope with," Jack said quietly. I looked at my watch. There were still 15 minutes left. "Can you see her, Mary?" Turning my head, I asked Jack's sister. "No, I hoped, but no. You are so lucky that you can see her," I heard her quiet, sad voice. As she spoke, Marie squeezed my hand. We stood silently on the porch of the house, watching through the car window as Carrie and Genevieve talked and hugged each other. When their time was up, Genevieve walked back to the house and the 3 of us. Tears flowed down her cheeks and her heart was torn to pieces. "She's gone, Daddy!" the girl exclaimed in a broken voice and desperately clung to her father, burying her face in his chest, sobbing and hugging him. Jack finally let go of my hand to hug Genevieve tightly. "We'll be glad if you stay with us, Josh. We have homemade cookies. Would you like some hot cocoa or coffee?" Jack suggested, looking at me hopefully. Genevieve turned her head to me and raised her tear-stained light brown eyes pleadingly. "Please stay. I have an album with stories about the last 6 people who brought my mother home. I'll show it to you." What could I say to this? "I'll be very happy. Let me lock my car first." I smiled and accepted their invitation. Carrie had disappeared, and there was no one in the quietly purring car. The rear trunk lid, which I had opened so that I could bring the damaged bicycle into the house, was now closed, and the trunk itself was empty. When I realized this detail, the hair on my arms and neck stood on end. After turning off the ignition and locking the car, I joined Jack, Mary, and Genevieve in their house. Mary lingered at the door, waiting for me to return, and then she took me by the hand and led me into the dining room. Knowing that I would be late for work, I sent a message to the plant saying that I had been involved in a traffic accident and would be delayed for several hours. From conversations around the table, I learned that Mary, like me, was divorced, but she had no children. We were all interested in communicating, and it seemed that we really became friends that evening. While I was enjoying my family's stories about Carrie, my cell phone rang in my pocket. It turned out to be Janie. "Hello, Daddy." Her excited voice came through the phone. "I just told my mom that I don't care what she wants. Can you come and celebrate Christmas with me tomorrow?" She said she wouldn't mind. I choked, but quickly answered, "With pleasure, dear. When is the best time for me to stop by?" "Everyone must be up by 8 in the morning. Thank you, Daddy. Love you." "I love you too, Janie. Don't ever forget that." It was a wonderful day spent with my daughter, even if I got to catch a glimpse of the one who replaced me. I returned to my bachelor pad late on Christmas evening when I remembered the card Jack and Genevieve gave me. When I opened it, I found a photo of Carrie, as well as another card that showed Jack, Carrie, and Genevieve all together, their smiling faces beaming, filled with joy and light. There, inside, was a gift certificate to my favorite cafe, written in a child's handwriting. By the way, it is located in a rather secluded and quiet place. Jack would have to travel a long way to get there. How? How could they find out about this? I hope this certificate is waterproof because my involuntary tears escaped my eyelashes and dripped onto the paper I held in my hands. An unexpected call from Mary interrupted my tears. Well, now I had a date set for Sunday night, after I took Janie home to her mother. To help me remember this, I wrote a red marker on my calendar to remind me that I would definitely be driving along this stretch of road next Christmas Eve. It wouldn't be right if there wasn't anyone there to take Carrie home.